Hi, Yardners. It's Destry. Welcome back to my yard. Actually, today I'm in my kitchen. It is a cold and kind of rainy afternoon here in the Pacific Northwest Oregon. So I am finding some ways to utilize some of these beautiful herbs that I've grown in a couple different ways here in my kitchen. I hope that you'll stay and check out how I'm going to eat these delicious herbs that I've been growing. These herbs I've been growing in my little raised herb garden bed in three different ways. The first way, of course, is eating them fresh, right? That's probably the best way to enjoy culinary herbs is just to take those leaves and strip the stems and chop them and use them in fresh salads or sauces or pastas or bruschetta or whatever it is that you're interested in making. The second way I'm going to be using them today is by drying some of my herbs. I've noticed that some of them are starting to go to seed, so it's important that I cut them back. I'm going to be bunching them and drying them. And then the third way I'm going to be utilizing these herbs today is a new way to me, which is to make some olive oil frozen ice cubes, basically, but they're not ice cubes, they're herb cubes. I'm going to be using some of these ice cube trays. So let me kind of go through some of the supplies that I have. First of all, I have my lovely herbs, of course, all washed and ready to go. I've got my cutting board and a knife. I have a pair of scissors. I do have a brand new bottle of olive oil. I have my wire hanger and a little bit of twine. And then I also have some rubber bands, all that I could scrounge from around the house. So let's go ahead and get started. So first things first, I'm going to move out the towel from underneath these herbs, which are all washed. I've got mint, I've got basil, I've got two kinds of thyme, and I've got a couple different kinds of culinary herbs here. So the larger ones I'm going to start with today are the basil. So these are probably the biggest, you know, as far as like size wise, the biggest bunches that I have. But anything I have these larger stems of, I'm going to go ahead and try doing some drying of these. So this one here, I believe, oh, I wish you guys could smell these. They smell so amazing. This one here, I believe, is a thyme, and it smells absolutely amazing. This one here is a basil. And just to show you what I'm talking about, they are starting to go to seed. So honestly, I couldn't believe how fast that happened, where they started developing the little seed heads. So if your basil starts doing that, it's definitely time to cut it back. So I'm just going to be bunching these up by the stems. Now, when I was cutting them, I was trying to, cut them approximately all a similar length, but I can always trim them up later. And I'm just going to bunch up these larger pieces that I have. And that's where my rubber band is going to come in. So I think I have a few more basils in here. And I'm going to guess that if you have grown herbs before, that you have done this particular style of um, drying herbs. It seems like one that most people have done before. So I'm just going to band these ends as tightly as I can. Now, the tighter the better, because once these dry, they are going to, the water will evaporate out and they'll shrink a little bit. So try to get that rubber band nice and tight. And then what I'm going to do is take my twine and basically secure that to the bottom and tie it up on my wire hanger. So my hanger is going to I'm just going to put it in a cool, dark place and just be patient and wait for the herbs to dry. And then I can either crumble them in my fingers or I can chop them, and then I'll have them to use all fall and winter. So it's a really great way to preserve my harvest, right? To preserve these wonderful things that I've grown in my garden. So leave me a comment down below. Do you grow herbs? And if so, what kind of herbs do you grow? How do you utilize your herbs in your cooking? So I've got that tied, and I'm just going to take a length of that twine and I'm going to secure it to my wire hanger. So you get the idea here. And then I can continue to add bunches of these going across and get them drying. Now, I don't have a dehydrator, which would be another way to dry herbs. If you have a dehydrator, leave a comment down below. Tell me how you like it. I'm considering getting one, but this is one of my first summers of actually harvesting herbs. I feel like I often grow them, but I don't often like take the time to harvest them and dry them. So tell me in the comments, do you have a dehydrator? And if so, how does that work for you? I'm going to go ahead and take these other big bundle here that I have and do the same exact thing. I'm going to use my rubber band. And again, if you're wanting to use some of these herbs fresh, you would definitely want to, set some aside so that you could potentially use them for dinner that night or for whatever recipe. And that's the glorious thing about having fresh herbs in your own garden. Now, the raised garden bed that I have for my herb garden, it was pretty inexpensive. I got it just on Amazon, and it's been working really well just to keep any, kind of keep the dogs out of my herb garden and keep the critters out of there. So it's been working really well. All right, so here's my second bunch. I'm going to go ahead and get those tied to the hanger, and I'll show you the next method that I'm going to be doing for utilizing my herbs today. Okay, so the second way I'm going to be utilizing some of these herbs today does involve some chopping. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my mint. I'm going to go ahead and just strip the leaves right off of the stems because I don't want any of the woody stems in my minty, leaves, ice cubes that I'm going to create. So I'm going to be doing two different kinds of ice cubes. The first one is actually going to be ice cubes. And in those, I'm going to be utilizing the mint and the lemon thyme and the lemon, I think it's, is it a lemon basil, basically. So these are going to be infused water, water ice cubes, I guess, for my summer drinks. They would be beautiful in like a pitcher for a party or get together. So here I've got my leaves, and I'm just going to go ahead and begin chopping them up, and so that it will release all of the essential oils basically in these beautiful leaves. Now, I wish, like I said, I wish you guys could smell this. It smells amazing and it's so fresh. So this would be lovely in some iced tea or even some lemonade, maybe an adult beverage or two, whatever you guys can think that you would want to put these in. So some of them I'm just going to make as, pure mint. And then some of them I am going to use the lemon flavor, or herb, I should say. Okay, so that's good enough. I think that's kind of letting go the aromas there. And then I did go ahead and purchase just some really inexpensive ice cube trays for this project, just because I wanted to be sure that I was using, something fresh that wouldn't have a taste or a scent to it already. So because these are brand new, I'm going to pause the video just for 1 second and go wash these up. All right, guys, I'm back to it here, and I just wanted to show you, this is the lemon thyme. It's just, hopefully you can kind of see that. It's really beautiful. I think on this one, oh, I wish you guys could smell. It smells so good. I'm just going to give them a rough chop. I'm not going to worry about stemming them because it's so small. But again, that's up to you. Just depends. I don't have a ton of time today, so I'm trying to get this done in time for a book club that I'm going to have later, where I'd like to serve, some of these herb infused ice cubes. So I'm going to just cheat the system a little bit and go a little bit faster. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and place not too many, but I want it to look impactful. So I'm going to do about half this tray. Hopefully you guys can kind of see this with the mint. All right, so that chopped up mint, and I believe it's a peppermint. And then I'm going to do the other half with that lemon thyme. Might need a little bit more mint, but let's see how far we get here. So that's the mint. I've also got a towel here. And then let's go ahead and do these lemon thyme. And then this one I'm going to fill with filtered water. So I've got my little Brita water filter. I would encourage you guys to use filtered water if possible. That smells so good. I'm going to do just a little bit more of that thyme. It smells so good just because I'm short by like one ice cube. Now for the third method I'm going to show you, I'm pretty excited. This is one that's new to me and I haven't actually tried it myself before. So that one is going to involve some olive oil. So I'm excited to see how that works. Okay, so we've got that. So I'm just going to show you this before I add the water, just so you can kind of see about how much I've got in there. So this is the mint, and then this is the lemon thyme. And now I'm going to just fill it with my filtered water. And this will go into the freezer for a couple hours. And I think this is going to look so beautiful. And again, you could decide what herbs that you prefer to use. You could make them specific for a specific recipe. I mean, I could even see doing this for those of you that might be into like cocktail, like mixology or something like that. This could be really fun. So this is going to go into my ice cube or my freezer. So I'm going to set this aside for now. And then I'm going to go ahead and show you the third way that I'm going to be utilizing these herbs today. All right, so for my third use of my culinary herbs today, I'm going to be using olive oil. So I'm going to be using olive oil and that second ice cube tray. And then these are different oreganos. So these ones I'm actually going to strip the stems while I'm talking with you guys about it. This one does have a woody stem, so I want to be sure to get rid of that. And so my intention for using these is for cooking. So because it will be, they will be preserved basically in a block of olive oil, then that way this fall and winter or whenever I can utilize these in my cooking. So instead of just adding, regular olive oil to the pan, if I was cooking up a steak or some chicken or something, I can throw one of these in there and have that infusion of fresh oregano. So the oregano, again, is something I would want to use probably more in a heated dish rather than, something in like an ice cube or something like that. It does have a bit of a kick to it. I did try some raw and it had a little spice to it, which I wasn't sure that oregano was going to taste like that. So, and again, you could definitely dry this herb, which I will be doing another video soon about, more drying. Again, it depends on if I get that dryer that I'm kind of looking at. I'm going to go ahead and give these a rough chop. And I am going to combine both of these oreganos that I have. I have two varieties. I have an Italian and I believe a Greek oregano. And I'm just going to kind of combine them together. So I want to show you, the other one is a lot of a smaller leaf. And it actually did go to seed a little bit. So, or to, not to seed, but to flower. So if you can kind of tell there, it's got these little purple flowers. And again, I was a little late in harvesting it. Probably should have done that before it flowered, but I don't see the harm in it. It actually is going to look really pretty. And I don't think it'll hurt anything to kind of just incorporate these into my olive oil recipe here. So again, I'm just giving these all a rough chop, and then I'm just going to go ahead and mix everything together. Give it another run through with my knife. Tell me in the comments, do you guys like to cook? What kind of recipes do you utilize your fresh herbs with? I'm kind of new to cooking with fresh herbs, so I'm excited to give it a try. Okay, I feel like that's pretty good. Now I'm just going to go ahead and fill up my little ice cube trays with a pinch of the mixture. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the olive oil in there and pop these in the freezer. What's nice too is then I can pop out the little olive oil herb ice cubes. I can put them in a plastic baggie, and then I can use the tray again to continue to process whatever herbs that I've harvested today and throughout the spring and even into the fall. But these are going to be so beautiful. I'll show you this when I'm all done. I'm trying to make them relatively equal here as far as how much I'm putting in. And I'm excited to have these infused flavors in my cooking. So here we go. This is what it looks like. So you can kind of see, there we are. And now here comes the fun part, which is filling up each little cell here with my olive oil. Oh my gosh, you guys, I cannot wait to try this. I have to say, it's not my original idea, but when I saw it, I thought, well, that's a clever way to use these herbs, because if you're anything like me, as far as, you know, being in the garden, it's like I plan a lot of things, and then sometimes I forget to like actually use my harvest before it goes bad. And then I'm always kicking myself like, why didn't I, you know, preserve more? One thing I've never tried is canning. So again, in the comments, tell me, do you do canning? Is that something you've tried? I have done frozen like things. I've frozen my beans and things like that, but I've never done canning. Oh, you guys, this is so beautiful. Let's see if I can try to show you this with the olive oil in there. Okay, wait, I'm gonna have to, there we go. I hope you can kind of see that, but it's gorgeous. So this is gonna go get popped in my freezer as well. And there you have it. There's a couple different ways to utilize your herbs. You could try making some olive oil cubes, some ice cubes. You could try drying just on a hanger like this. And of course, eating them fresh. So thanks so much for joining me today in my kitchen as I use some of these wonderful things that I've grown in my yard. I hope you guys have a great day and get out in your yard, because it's a really fun place to be.